Going on, guys? All right, so today we're kicking it off with my official 2019 NBA mock draft. So we're a week away at this time. It's getting super exciting. Everything's kind of finally, all the dust is settling. The trade talks, the draft combines, all the individual workouts, all that stuff is finally coming to a close. And now, really, it's a matter of kind of trying to piece everything together. And in a week we'll kind of see where everything falls, but right now we have a lot of information at our fingertips. I've been doing a ton of research going into this draft, and there's just kind of a lot of information that's been circulating out there for each team. Guys are targeting, what those teams' biggest needs are. So today I'm not going to waste any more time. I'm going to dive into the 2019 NBA draft and give you guys my assumption of how everything is going to unfold. I'm going to put together everything that I've heard to this point, and I'm going to be diving in. I'm going to be going into detail on each team. So this is going to be a full first round mock draft. I'm going to touch on every team, and I think you guys are going to really enjoy this one. So another thing I do want to point out, though, is I know that there's going to be some trades that are going to unfold. I know Boston's been in trade talks. I know the Lakers have been in trade talks. The Pelicans. I know there's been a lot of those talks circulating. I'm not going to come in and for this NBA mock draft, I'm not going to really try to make those assumptions. So we're just going to play through the draft. I'm not going to try to make any trades or guess to which teams are going to be making those trades. So I'm just going to run through the draft as if there's no trades that were happening in the draft, because that's too hard to predict. So with that said, without further ado, the number one overall pick, the Pelicans are going to select Zion Williamson. So you can see for each team, I'm going to highlight their needs. For the Pelicans, it's really simple. Zion Williamson. I'm not even going to go into too much detail on this guy. You guys all know who this guy is. You guys all know what he can do. Freak athlete, 6'7" height, 6'10" wingspan. This guy has all the tools to be a perennial all-star. He has all the tools. Rebounder. He's physical. He's developing a jump shot. He can get to the lane. He can create his own shot. He, mentally, he's a grinder. He's a worker. He's going to be an incredible NBA player. His versatility is insane. Combined with his athleticism, I think the sky's the limit for this guy, and I'm excited to be watching this guy next year. So the Pelicans are going to take him number one overall. The Grizzlies selecting Ja Morant. So Ja Morant, I think he fits really nicely with the Grizzlies. They are in need of a point guard. Mike Conley's future is up for debate at this point, and we really don't know how that's all going to unfold. With that said, this guy could play some two if needed. Conley could play some two if needed. He's the next best player in this draft. Again, another freak athlete. He's only 6'3". He does have a 6'7" wingspan. So, he's long. He's an incredible playmaker. He can create his own shot. He's a great shooter, great passer, great vision, great leader. He's going to be another guy that I'm just super, super psyched to watch this next year. So, Ja Morant going number 2 to the Grizzlies. Next up, number 3, the New York Knicks select R.J. Barrett. So, R.J. Barrett, I think this is an easy pick for them. There is debate. He could go at 2. That's not going to happen, I don't believe. But R.J. Barrett, too big of a talent. I think he's going to go number 3. An incredible scorer. Some people are putting too much pressure on this guy, though, as well, to this point. I mean, the kid's 19. He's freshly turning 19. So, give the guy 3 years, 4 years. He's going to be like 22, 23 years old. Still plenty of time left to even reach his prime. So, this guy's not going to be in his prime for another 7, 8, 9 years, right? So, he's flashed his ability. He's got that Mamba mentality. He reminds me a little bit of Kobe. You can see some of the comparisons we have down below. Alpha Andrew Wiggins, I like that one. But I think this guy he's going to flourish. I think he's going to do great. I think this is a great fit for him. I think just watching some of his interviews, I think he has the mentality and the mindset that's needed to thrive in that New York marketplace. It's a vicious marketplace. Those fans demand a lot, and I think he has the kind of doesn't give a shit attitude that would fit really well in this on this Knicks team. So R.J. Barrett to the Knicks. Next up, number 4 overall, we've got the Lakers. The Lakers, I believe, are going to go ahead and take Darius Garland. So if they retain this pick, it's debatable. If they do retain this pick, their biggest needs, they need to win now. Lonzo Ball's future is up in the air. They could be getting rid of him. If that's the case, the Lakers, Garland could fit in really nice here. He's another incredible player. I think he's being overlooked due to his injury, which always happens. There's always a handful of players that get looked over due to injuries, due to conduct issues, and a lot of times those players thrive. So I think he's another player in a great position. McDonald's All-American player, a great scoring guard, has a little bit of Damian Lillard in him. He's a worker. He seems like a really mature kid for his age, but again, he's still super young. Doesn't have the biggest height, the biggest length, but he makes up for that. He's quick, he's shifty, he's a great playmaker, he has great vision, and I think he could fit in great on this Lakers team. So next up, with a 5th overall pick, the Cavs select Jarrett Culver. So Jarrett Culver, I think he's the next best available player with the Cavs. They need just about everything outside of Colin Sexton. So, a shooting guard they don't really need, but I think Culver fits in great here. They need to take the best overall player. I think he is the next best overall player. Averaged 18 points this year, 6 rebounds. He can pack the stat sheet. The dude's still super young, 20 years old. He's got a great all-around game, 6'7" height, with a 6'9" wingspan. So he's got the height, he's got the length. He can be a primary shot creator alongside Sexton, which could be great to just get that offense charged up and going. They're gonna have a young duo there that can really be a force to reckon with for years to come. So I think he'd be a great fit for them. And you can see a comparison down below. Chris Middleton. That could be a fairly good one. I would say much more athletic Chris Middleton could be Jarrett Culver in a couple years. So I think he's going to be a great player in the NBA. Next up, we've got the Suns taking DeAndre Hunter. So Suns' biggest need right now, a stretch big. They also need a point guard, but I don't see them taking the point guard right here. They could go ahead and take Kobe White here, but I think it's more realistic that they go ahead and they take DeAndre Hunter right here. They need kind of a stretch big that can help out on the offensive side, shooting, and then also helping alongside DeAndre Ayton and helping kind of down low in that post. And I think Hunter can help in both those areas, so I think he'll be kind of the biggest improvement, being able to help on both the defensive side and also the offensive side. The guy's a great shooter. He's got incredible length. He's 6'7", 7'2" wingspan. Great defender. He averaged 15 a game, 5 rebounds. A great 3-and-D player. Shot a great percentage from 3 this year for Virginia. Helped lead them to the championship. And I think he can be a great player. Very safe player. And I think he'd be a great player for the Suns. So next up, we've got number 6, Chicago Bulls. They're in desperate need of a point guard. I think Kobe White would fit great here. I don't know if he'll make it here. I think the Suns could grab him here as well. But if so, if he slides to the Bulls, I think they will, no hesitation, take this guy. A great player, 16 points a game. He's definitely a primary scorer is his main attribute, but he can dish the ball. He has good vision. He has good passing ability. He's still very young. He's very fast. And I think he's going to be a great addition to this team. I think he's the next best overall player as well. So I think lining what their needs are with the next best overall player is a perfect fit for the Bulls. So Kobe White to the Bulls at number 7. Number 8, we've got Cam Reddish. So Cam Reddish to the Hawks. I think the way I see the Hawks kind of looking at this draft, yes, they need some bigs in this draft. But the way I kind of see them looking at this draft is they've got 3 picks in this top 20, right? So being that they don't trade one of these picks, I think they're going to take a couple swings at a couple risky, high ceiling guys. And I think Cam Reddish is the first one of those. I also think this guy is just a great player, but I think overall kind of that's going to be their mindset. They're going to take 1 or 2 really high ceiling players because they have the ability to do so. And I think Cam Reddish is this first guy they take here at number 8. So Cam Reddish, 6'8", 7 feet wingspan. Didn't really have the opportunity to thrive in that Duke offense, being that they were, he had 2 superstars in that offense. You look, kind of how that happens in the NBA when you have a star player go to a team that's filled with studs. They don't produce in quite the same way. But you give You give Reddish the chance in your offense, give him some spacing on the offensive side. He's got a great shot as far as just his shooting form. It looks great. He is a great shot creator. He's got great athleticism, and I think he can be a great addition on this team, especially if they are willing to give him a year or two to kind of develop. They have that young roster. I think he could fit in great there. So next up, number 9 overall, Washington Wizards select Sekou Doumbouya. So this is going to be our first international player going off the board. I believe he's going to go in the top 10, and I think he fits in great here with the Wizards. They need bigs desperately. He's been really improving lately, I think. So I believe he had a game this past week where he dropped like 38 points in one of his games. Very young player. He's developing extremely quickly. He's 6'9" with a 6'11" wingspan. He could continue to grow height-wise, just like Giannis did once he got to the NBA. Definitely weight-wise, I think he'll fill out as well. But with that said, he's not a bad weight right now. Already around 230. That's not bad. He's athletic. He can shoot. He can create his own shots. Kind of plays a little bit like a Siakam, but I think he's a little more fluid of an athlete than Siakam. So I think he's going to be a great player moving forward. Give him a few years. I think he can be a potential all-star. And as of right now, I think he would be the best overall fit for the Wizards. So we've got the Atlanta Hawks again. You son of a bitch. Honestly, if I were a Hawks fan in this draft, I envy you guys. I'm a Pistons fan, so we're coming up at number 15 here. But again, with the Hawks, like I said, they have 3 picks in this top 20. The ability to go in there and try to take a couple high-ceiling players, I think Jackson Hayes fits the bill perfectly. They need some bigs. I think he's a great big that they can take in here. Great rim protector, rim runner, lob catcher, great athlete, incredible wingspan. He's 6'11", 7'3" wingspan. You know, plays a lot like a Clint Capella, and super young, freshly 19 years old. I think he has a lot of room to grow. Also kind of reminds me of like a Rudy Gobert. I think that's a really good comparison too. But I think he could be a great fit for the Hawks as well. So number 10, I see the Hawks going with Jackson Hayes. Timberwolves select Rui Hachimura. So Rui Hachimura, he's an interesting prospect. We've seen him kind of go in a variety of places in the draft. Some a little bit higher than this, some kind of more in the 20s. I think he fits really well with the Wolves and what they're trying to do. From a mentality side, Rui Hachimura, he's a worker. I think after they get in, an Andrew Wiggins type of player, they're going to start to take this mentality thing a little bit more seriously. And Hachimura, he's a very motivated athlete. He's a very mature athlete. He's 21 already, taking a player kind of a little bit further along in their development, so they know what they're going to get a little more. After they've been a little bit scarred by this Andrew Wiggins ordeal. Hachimura, great player. A little bit of an unorthodox player, being a 6'8" player, 7'2" wingspan. There's not any super great comparisons. He is a really unique player. He averaged close to 20 points a game with 6.5 rebounds. So, a lot of people have trouble kind of figuring out what type of player he is. But if you look at his stats, the dude poured on 20 points a game with almost 7 boards, 60% from the field. So the guy just knows how to score. He's a great player. He's got great vision. He's got a developing 3-point shot. Already a great mid-range shooter. Has good post moves. He's a smart athlete. He's a good defender. So I think he'd be a great fit for the Wolves. Overall, we've got Brandon Clarke. So the Hornets, they really need a rim protector. They also need some shooting. But as far as rim protectors goes, they're not going to find a better fit than Brandon Clarke. This dude led the NCAA in block shots last year. So incredible player. Also averaged 17 points and 9 rebounds a game. So he's an incredible athlete, 6'8". He's a little bit older, but with that said, he's going to be in his prime for cheaper. So there's pros and cons to having a little bit of an older player. You know what you're going to get as well. So superb athlete, over a 40-inch vertical. I believe it's actually 40-inch vertical. Guy's fun to watch. He's a pogo stick athlete. I think he's going to be super fun to watch in the NBA. And I'm excited for how well he's going to fit in with the Hornets if they go ahead and select him. I can imagine Kemba throwing quite a few lobs to this guy. So we've got the Heat, and their needs, point guard and wings. Nasir Little, this is the wing I think that they're going to go with. I think they've seen a lot of success with Winslow. I think Nasir Little really fits this team's mentality, a defense first, mentality. They really need to bring in some wings that can defend well, I think. And I think Nasir Little would fit in well on this team. I don't see them really taking a shooting guard as much, being that they have Richardson. Winslow plays some point guard sometimes, and I think Little could be a great fit on this team. Again, another guy like Reddish, super high prospect coming out of high school, McDonald's All-American, didn't really flash in their freshman years. There's a lot to be said for fitting in on a college team, and these guys, they're coming into these college programs. You really don't know. They're 17-year-old kids. They don't know what systems they're getting into. Nasir Little came into a team that was filled with upperclassmen, and a team that he just didn't really find the best fit for. There was definitely some concerns with some of the things that he did his freshman year, and I think a couple of those things. One of those things actually, the weight that he put on. He put on about 15, 17 pounds of muscle going into his freshman year. I don't think that experiment worked for him very well. I think he lost a lot of agility. I think he was much more stiff on defense. I think there's definitely some room for him to improve, but the guy's been playing high-level basketball in the NCAA for 1 year, so you're testing things out. He figures out maybe he plays a little bit better to lighter weight. He sheds 15 pounds. He's that same athlete he was back in high school. He could jump right back up and be a top 5 player out of this draft. So with that said, also an improving jump shot. The guy's already an incredible athlete. There's a lot of room for improvement for this guy for sure. More of a project player. That's why you see him falling out of the top 10. But with that said, with a lot of these guys from 10 to 15 spot, a lot of them could potentially end up being a top 5 player in this draft. He's one of those guys if he can continue to develop. And I think he can be a great fit for the Heat. So next up we have Boston Celtics. So Boston Celtics, I see them going with the best available player. Their roster is a mess right now. We don't know what's going to happen. I think P.J. Washington is a great player. When I think about fit for the Celtics, I think about an aging Horford. I think about the fact that they have a lot of wings. So I really look at a power forward for this team. And I think Washington fits in well. He could also, play a little bit of small ball 5 if absolutely needed. The guy's 6'8" with a 7'2" wingspan. He's a great scoring power forward, averaged 15 a game, 7 rebounds. He's got a strong body. He can kind of bang in the post. He's a great passer, has great vision, and I think he could fit in well. I just kind of see him kind of being a player that would fit in well as a good role player on the Celtics. So I see P.J. Washington going off the board, number 14, to the Boston Celtics. Next up, my Pistons. My Pistons right here, I'm really hoping this guy falls to him. This is the guy that I want. I might have been a little biased saying that the Miami Heat aren't going to take this guy just because I want him. But I can't see this happening. I can see Kevin Porter falling. There's been talk circulating. I'm not going to go too far into detail on all the things I know about the Pistons, the guys that they've interviewed, the guys that they brought in for draft workouts. That's another video. That's actually a video I've already done. But with the Pistons, they need a wing. They need a wing desperately. They need somebody who can create their own shot. They need somebody that can play defense, can D up on some of these bigger wings that we struggle to defend in the playoffs, like a Giannis, like the issues we would have had against the Kawhi. I think he fits in well. Yes, there's concerns, but this is the number 15 pick. This is another player that could end up, potential-wise, ability-wise, being a top 5 player in this draft. He's an incredible athlete. He reminds me actually a lot of a Cameron Reddish. And he has all the ability in the world. He can shoot it. He's a super fluid athlete. He's got a beautiful left-handed jump shot. Looks a lot like Harden. He's got a great step back. I think this guy's going to be an all-star. It might take him a few years, but again, he's 19 years old. Give him 3 years, he'll be 22. 4 years, he could be an all-star. So I think this is a great fit for the Pistons. Number 15 overall. I'm praying to the draft gods that they take Kevin Porter Jr. So next up, number 16, the Orlando Magic select Romeo Langford. So with Romeo Langford, the Magic need a wing. I think Romeo Langford, his injury to his hand affected him a little more than people are giving him credit for. So he's a great shot creator. He's a good athlete. 16.5 points a game as a freshman. The kid was 18 years old. He's got a great mid-range jumper and can finish around the rim. He reminds me a lot of a DeMar DeRozan, actually. And I went back, actually, and I watched a lot of tape of this guy because this is actually another guy I could see the Pistons taking. In the Magic and the Pistons have similar needs. And with him, I went back to his high school tape and there was all of his high school stats. This guy, first of all, he had ridiculous stats in high school. I think he averaged like 35 points a game. Was Indiana Mr. Basketball. Or I don't know if it was Indiana, but he was Mr. Basketball for his state. But I was looking through his three-point shooting percentages. And yes, it's a little bit shorter of a three-point shot, but he was averaging much closer to 40% from three throughout high school, throughout his entire career. So I think it was like 38% or something like that. So it was much, much better than what he shot at Indiana. And I think I'm going to give him a pass with his injured hand on his shooting hand that he had most of his year at Indiana. And give this guy some time. Again, he's super young. I think he's going to end up being a great player that's underlooked a little bit because he doesn't have that elite athleticism, and also because his three-point shot wasn't falling last year. But this guy can create his own shot. He's a great player, and I think he could be actually a potential steal in this draft. And I think the Magic would do great selecting him here at number 16. So number 17 overall, we've got the Atlanta Hawks. Again, like I said, high ceiling guys, Bol. So Bol could go higher than this. He could go lower than this. We have no idea what really NBA teams are thinking of this guy at this point. Some mock drafts he's going top 10. Some he's in the 20s. So he's just he's a unicorn of an athlete and a basketball player. So with these guys in every draft, they either go too high or too low. They generally don't go where they should, and I think the Hawks might do well selecting him right here, and I think he's being undervalued too. So he could be a great steal for them. Super young. Go ahead and look at his stats: 21 points a game, 10 rebounds. I don't know how many blocks this guy had a game, but it was a lot. It was up there for leading the NCAA. And that makes sense. He has a 7'7" wingspan, 7'2" height. Yes, his weight is a concern. Yes, his strength is a concern. Yes, injuries are a concern with a big guy like this. But just as a specimen, as a shooter, as a scorer, the guy shot over 50% from three as a 7'2". Do we want to call him a center? Do we want to call him a small forward? I don't know. Power forward? I don't know. He's his own position, kind of. But reminds me a lot of a Kristaps Porzingis, a Thon Maker. The Brook Lopez, more athletic Brook Lopez is actually a pretty good comparison too. But I like this guy a lot, and again, I see them taking some high ceiling guys and striking gold on one or two of them. And I envy you, Atlanta fans, and I think you might be taking Bol here at number 17. Number 18. So we've got the Indiana Pacers. Their needs, wings, they need shooting. I think Nickeil Alexander-Walker, I think he fits in perfectly for this team. This guy has some incredible highlights. I would recommend you guys go just check this guy out. I think he's definitely an underrated prospect this year. Averaged 16 a game, was lights out from three-point land, was more of a shooting guard than a point guard. That's why I think he'll fit in great at this shooting guard spot for the Pacers. Could even play a little bit of small ball three if he needed to. He's an incredible defender. His vision is insane. He gets in the lane. He's finding open shooters with the eyes in the back of his head. Like, it's crazy. Like, watch his highlights. You'll see some of the insane passes that this guy makes. Incredible vision. Plays a lot like his cousin, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I think a little bit more athletic than him and a little better vision than him in passing than his cousin. And Shai Gilgeous was, I think, he was like a top 12 draft pick. So I think that is a great prospect, and I think he could fit in great with the Indiana Pacers. The Spurs, they need a center. They need a big, and I think Goga fits in well here. He is 6'11" center, 7'2" wingspan. He's a young player, but he has been playing professionally overseas, and he's been doing really well. He's been developing a lot this season. He can shoot. He reminds me a lot of like a Nurkic. The guy can shoot. The guy's got great post moves. He's really smart, very mature. I think he'd be a great fit with the Spurs. I mean, you just look at the guy. He looks like a Spur. I don't know. He looks mature. He can shoot. He's got those basic fundamental low post moves. Kind of a Tim Duncan light, maybe. I don't know, but I think he's going to be a great player. And he could actually go earlier than this. He can maybe go to the Hawks actually as well. Anybody that needs a big before him, but if he falls, I think the Spurs will definitely take this guy. Okay. We've got the Boston Celtics. So number 20 overall. Again, their roster is a mess. We don't know what they're going to be doing this offseason with this roster. But I really think Grant Williams is a Celtic kind of guy. I think, again, I see them going best available. This guy, again, is underrated. You look at his stats, you'd think, okay, this guy is going higher than number 20 overall. 19 points a game, 7.5 rebounds, 3 assists, 6'7" with a 6'9" wingspan. He's 240. He's jacked. He's not that old. He's only 20. He's a great player. He's a superb, he's incredibly smart. Incredibly smart. I think I heard this ridiculous stat about his grades in school. I'm pretty sure his mom works at NASA or something, and she's just a genius. And I think this guy is going to be a great player. He's going to be a great role player. Could play a bit of Draymond, and I think he's going to be a great player. Great vision, just a great all-around player, which I think could fit in well with the Celtics. Really not knowing what direction the roster is going to go. This guy's a versatile athlete player. I think he could fit in great with the Celtics. Number 21 overall, the Thunder. They need a shooter. Tyler Hero is their guy. So Tyler Hero, 6'6", athlete. He's a scorer. He can create his own shot. He's an incredible shooter, has a great stroke, average 14 points a game, 53% from the field. He's just one of those premium shooters. He also is a good defender. Actually reminds me quite a bit of a Devin Booker. That's a good comparison, and I think he could be a great fit on the Thunder, providing some offensive firepower alongside Russell Westbrook, who cannot shoot that well, and also complementing Paul George, who can shoot incredibly well, but could take a little pressure off him on the offensive side. So next up, number 22, we've got the Boston Celtics again. So again, best available, Cameron Johnson. I think he would be a great selection for them. And also, I don't know if the Celtics are going to retain all these picks. I could actually see a team like the Pistons or some team around that 10 to 12 range trading back and scooping up a couple of these picks. But with that said, if they do retain this, I think Cameron Johnson will go around this point in the draft. He is being overlooked heavily. 17 points a game, arguably the best three-point shooter in this entire draft. Being overlooked because of his age completely. 6'8" with a 6'10" wingspan, guys. He can shoot lights out. The reality of it is, people overlook these guys that are old in age, right? Because, they're not going to be playing as long in the league, and they're already close to their prime. They don't have much, left to grow. That's just not true. You see guys continuing to develop at older ages when they come into the league all the time. And also the cool thing about getting an older player, like I mentioned earlier, is you get a player who is going to be on a rookie contract while he's entering his prime. So around 26, he's going to be getting paid no more than a couple million a year, which is incredible value. And I think that is well coveted as it is to get a young guy. So they balance out, and with that, I think he's being overlooked. And I think he's going to be a great player in this league. And this guy's a dark horse candidate for Rookie of the Year. I don't think he'll get it, but I think he could be like a top 3 to top 5 candidate for Rookie of the Year. So I think the Celtics could go with Cameron Johnson right here. We've got the Jazz, and we've got them going with Keldon Johnson. So they need bigs. They need backcourt help. I think this pick right here could really help him in the backcourt. Average 13 a game, 6 rebounds. He's a great all-around player. And I think this guy is just going to be an incredible value here this late in the draft. High-effort defender, 6'6", 6'9" wingspan. He's athletic. He can shoot. He's a good all-around player. I see the Jazz going with Keldon Johnson here. We've got the 76ers. And with the 76ers, we have them going with the best available. Their roster, there's not really a big glaring need for them that I could see. As a 76er fan, I'm sure you guys have a better pulse on it than I do. But for me, looking at the roster, looking at some of the reports that have come out, I see them taking the best available. I think Matisse Thybulle could fit the bill very well. Could fit the bill. But yeah, I think this guy's an incredible player. He was the Defensive Player of the Year. That's highly coveted. 6'5", 7-foot wingspan, guys. He's a wing. He's a lockdown defender. Just an absolute lockdown defender. This guy, incredible at stealing the ball, blocking the ball. And if he can develop a good three-point shot, this guy's going to be deadly. So I got 76ers taking him right here. We've got the Blazers. And I've got them taking a big wing. I think that a wing, a guy that can defend and can also play a little bit on the offensive side is a big need for them. They don't really have any defending guards. McCollum's pretty good defense. Lillard's too small. Taking a guy like a KZ Okpala could fit very well. 6'9" with a 7'1" wingspan. Great offensive versatility. Good defender. He's very raw. He's young. He grew very late. I think he could be a good pick for them, though, right here. Number 26, we've got the Cavs, and I've got them going with Luguentz Dort out of Arizona State. So this guy's one of those freak athletes. He is a great defender, averaged 16 points a game, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. 6'4" height, 6'8" wingspan. If he was a couple inches taller, he'd be going way higher in the draft, I think, absolutely. He's got a little Zion in him. A little bit, not much, but he's got a little Zion in him. Great athlete. Pogo stick, vertical, can throw down the ball. If he can develop a little bit of a better shooting stroke, he can be a great player. We've got the Nets, and we've got them going with a center as their biggest need, and I got Bruno Fernando going off the board. I think he could go earlier. I think he's being overlooked as well. 13 a game, 10 rebounds. Another rim running big, 6'10" with a 7'3" wingspan. I think he could. Another guy who's being overlooked, guys. I think a lot of people talk about this draft not being, very loaded, being top heavy. I think it is top heavy because you have guys like Zion, you guys have guys like Barrett and Ja Morant. But with that said, I think it falls off. And this tier 3, those are like the tier 1 guys. There's not really a tier 2, but there's a big tier 3 in this draft, and I think he's one of these guys that could be a steal as well. Number 28, we've got the Warriors. I've got them taking somebody for the front court, and I don't know that they'll take that right here, but I think Carson Edwards is too good of a talent to pass up, and I think he could be scary on the Warriors, guys. He's still young. He's only 6 foot tall, but he's got a 6'6" wingspan, so he's got that length. And you guys saw him in the draft. You know what he can do. I'm not even really going into it. Great three-point shooter. I think he could be a great pick for the Warriors. Number 29, we've got the Spurs. They need some bigs. I've got them taking Calvin Galley right here. So out of Florida State, 6'10", 7'3" wingspan, incredible rim protector. He's been developing his offensive game. 13 points, 5.9 rebounds, and the nephew of Dikembe Mutombo. So he's got the blood in him, and I think he can end up being a great pick for the Spurs here. All right, number 30 overall, guys. We've got the Bucks taking some interior defense to kind of help out Brook Lopez from really just his age. He's getting old. He's not really a big physical presence in the lane. Yes, he's great at blocking shots. No knock on Brook Lopez. He's a great player. But I think getting a guy like this in a team like this who just needs kind of those little niches, those tweaks, getting a great interior defender big, I think could be a great fit for them. 6'11", 7'2" wingspan. He can shoot the three, and I think he can be a great pick for the Bucks. All right, guys. So that's all I got. I tried. That was a lot of information. That was a lot of guys to cover. But with that said, if you like this video, please drop a like. It helps a ton. And also if you enjoy these videos, subscribe. I'm gonna be dropping a lot of new content as the year goes on. I got a lot of cool videos planned. So, but yeah. Also, with that said, drop below if you think I missed a guy that you really wanted picked on your team. Go ahead and drop that down below. Or if there's any other guys you think should be in the first round that I missed, go ahead and drop that below. And also, I'm responding to every question you guys have. So any questions you guys have about draft picks or what I think your team might do, go ahead and put those down below, and I'll be happy to get in touch with you guys. So till next time, all right, I'll talk to you guys soon.